Mark, episode 51.
51, yeah.
And I thought this was going to be 50 with our guest, who I'm going to hold off introducing just yet. But episode 51. But we need to do a heart warm-up. Yes. And our guest is Bonnie of PACN. Mm-hmm. Bonnie Thompson. So this is going to be great. We just did one with someone that's connected to PACN. So I'm looking forward to doing this one here, though. And I thought it was going to be episode 50, but it's 51. So forgive me.
We had some technical difficulties. We're still learning. Works in progress.
So heart warm up. I'm grateful for yesterday. I had such a great experience. Jade, my youngest, who is first year at college, she's going to go play for a national championship in golf, and really cool. But she came down from school to visit with me yesterday, and we were at the Blue Lagoon just getting sunburned together. Yeah. And it was just a great time.
Where's your sunburn?
Oh, you should see my back.
Never mind.
But it was so cool just spending time with her and just connecting. So I'm very grateful for that.
And for me, it's really an obvious one is having an opportunity to learn about the amazing ministries that are here in our backyard. I mean, like I told Bonnie, I used to work at Exxon, and I used to go from Exxon to my home pretty much every day by this road, and I've seen this sign before, and I had no clue. I thought it was maybe some kind of a plumber business or something, PACN. So what I'm thankful for is an opportunity to realize what has been hidden in plain sight, which is all these amazing ministries that are available to heal. So,
right in our own community.
Yes.
Yeah.
So thank you for being part of it, Bonnie.
Thank you. My blessing is I am so grateful for the grace of God, and that there's nothing I can do or have ever done that would separate me from His love.
Amen.
And that's powerful in and of itself, because when we look at our lives, and if you listen to the testimonies of people that come onto this, we did a lot of stuff that wasn't the best. And yet
to put it politely.
I know. It's like we're used to talking to guys, and we're used to being guys. And so it's a little different with a lady on the show. So, yeah. But we're usually pretty good.
Well, we have our stories, too.
Yes. Right. So, Bonnie, I only met you, I want to say about a week and a half ago, somewhere in there. And just learning about what you all do, it was so inspiring. I'll confess, what really brought it more to the forefront of my thought was the movie Unplanned. I've been part of other organizations that really promoted life, and I wasn't aware of this organization until a mutual friend of ours, Billy, had told me about your organization. I was like, I got to go meet them and see what they're all about. So I met you. You took me through a great organization, what you all stand for, and all of that. And we're going to get to an episode to talk specifically about PACN. But on this episode, I'd love to hear, as much as you want to share with our listeners, your story of probably going back to maybe when you're 15, 16, 17, and just a little bit about life, and then how that started building into maybe one of the biggest decisions you had made even back then. And, you're probably just a few years past 17 now.
Yes, just a few.
Just a few. But how still that was one of the biggest decisions and maybe even life course changing to this point. So if you can take it from here.
Yes. It was the most course changing decision of my life. And unfortunately, it was not made with wise counsel.
Right.
I was 17. I was in high school. I was a straight A student. I was on the drill team, but I had a hard home life. I was not abused. I was not mistreated, but I had parents that had pretty severe marital stressors, and so they were not able to give their children much attention. And so I had really not much of a home life. And I think that contributed to some of the decisions I made. But when I was 17, I was dating a very nice boy, and we were in youth group together.
So you're actually in church.
I was in church, and I gave my life to Christ at 9. So, unfortunately, I'm going to tell you that at age 17, I chose abortion. And I had been dating this young man. His name's Mike, and he's well aware of my testimony, and we've caught up over the years. But we were in youth group. He was a year ahead of me in high school, and we dated seriously, and we got pregnant. And when it happened, he said, I want to go to college. And he had told me that he had anticipated marrying me after I would graduate from high school.
Right.
But when I told him about the pregnancy, and I have to tell you, I've never known terror like I experienced learning that I was pregnant.
Well, terror, that is a big word, right? And I'm sure it was made up of a lot of different things, but when you say terror, what is that really referring to? What is that terror?
It is a desperate need to deal with something. It is the inability to really properly reason. It is a desire to unload the stressor as quickly as possible, because in my mind there was no other option than abortion. Because
your parents didn't know, or was it the shame of a church, or it was like, I couldn't have done this? Like, where's that stressor coming from? Outside of just being pregnant in and of itself. At the time, I would have never really been able to even process how to answer this, but it was a combination of things. I was a high achiever, and I knew I could not disappoint my parents. Yeah. Also, I knew that I suspected strongly that my mother would make me get an abortion anyway. We had a really rough home life. The family didn't need another stressor. Yeah. Also, I would be horribly embarrassed for people to know that about me. I was ashamed. And then my boyfriend said, I had planned on us getting married in a couple years, but I want to go to college and that will interfere. Yeah. So I really didn't have to think about it much more than that, because when he said, I really want you to go to get an abortion and I'll pay for it, that kind of that was the decision. So he wasn't completely to blame. I mean, I think I was as ready to get rid of the problem as he was. What were the things you went through in your head to actually, and again, in our last episode, for them it was relatively, sounds like quick. It was like, obviously, this is what we're going to do. Yeah. Was it the same for you? Or did you wrestle through questions or concerns or not? Well, I did, I'd say momentarily. And my reasoning, of course, I was a 17-year-old child, but also it was, abortion is legal, and certainly the government wouldn't make something illegal that was wrong. Yeah. Which is a lie. I know that now. So at 17, you find yourself pregnant. You're in a church. Maybe not a very supportive home life, is what it's sounding like. And you've got to wrestle through, really, the ultimate decision is yours. It's not even your boyfriend's, it's yours. Because we hear so much in today's, it's the woman's body. So you're making this decision for yourself, and you made it relatively quick, it sounds like. What does that look like? Well, today it's more of it's the woman's choice, and it's her body. I didn't see anything. I didn't even process that. I was very naive. I didn't understand really what an abortion entailed. I did not understand it until it was over. So I was just, and I also want to say I was actually an aerobics instructor at the time. That was my job after school. And I was actually teaching a class, and I got sick while I was teaching it. And one of my coworkers saw me getting sick and kind of stepping back. And she said, go to the bathroom, I'll take care of this. And she finished my class for me. And afterwards she came and found me in the bathroom, and she said, are you okay? And I said, yeah, I just feel very sick. And she said, are you pregnant? And I said, no. She says, are you sure? And I said, there's no way. Anyway,
And then once I calmed down a little bit, I think that somewhere in there I admitted that I was having sex with my boyfriend. And she said, okay, well, I don't want you to worry about this. I'll take care of this. And she made some phone calls for me. She made my appointment. And she said, okay, now you just need to get somebody to take you. And don't think about this. And if you can just not think about this before you know it, it'll be over.
You know, wow, right? I've heard a definition between immaturity and maturity was this. Most people, most of us, we feel and we act. We feel and we act, we feel and we act. What takes us out of that stage is when we start feel, think, act. What am I doing? Why am I doing it? What are the consequences? And all these things we ask ourselves, we think. It's interesting when you say that lady says, don't think about it. Just get somebody to take you there and don't think about it. Wow.
She thought she was demonstrating love and support. Yeah. And the friends that drove me to the clinic were my best friends, and they were demonstrating love and support to me.
So, Bonnie, how did you feel right after the procedure?
Right after the procedure, I actually went to my boyfriend's home to heal because his parents were out of town. And right after the procedure, I hated him. And it took me a long time to stop hating him. And I wouldn't have said I blamed him. There was something happening in me emotionally that I did not understand. But an anger rose up in me. And I didn't even want to see him ever again.
Why? Like, why the anger towards him? What was it coming from?
Well, I didn't understand it at the time. Now, as I look back, here I am in bed. I'm bleeding. I don't feel good. And he's kind of bobbing in and out, playing basketball in his driveway with his friends. And I'm thinking, I'm going through this, and he is still out just being a guy, a kid.
Which he was.
That's right.
And we were at that age, right? And it's funny because we're not kids, we're not adults. We're kids wanting to be adults. And here we are trying to, at this age, you're going through a very, for a lack of a better term, adult circumstance. I mean, that's just a big thing. So you got pregnant. Did your parents know at this point or not?
They did not. I told my dad about a year later, and then I told my mom, I don't know, maybe another year later. My parents weren't married at that point.
Were you closer to your dad?
Yes.
Thus telling him first. Wow. Okay, so in our previous podcast, we talked about as men, we do a good job of stuffing. Yeah. So where are you emotionally, psychologically, like at this point now? So you've had the abortion, then what? Like, and take us on that journey, because this, you said, was the most influential, powerful, biggest thing, life-changing thing in your life. But did you stuff it? Were you dealing with it every day since that abortion? What's going on? Like, what does the chronological, emotional timeline of this experience look like? And then in the second episode, we'll get to today. But I suppose for the next 5 years, what did it look like or something?
Try the next 20.
Tell us about it.
Okay. So immediately after the abortion, once I healed up, I left the relationship with my boyfriend. And I got involved with someone else. And I became somewhat promiscuous. I no longer valued myself. Right. At that point. I didn't realize I didn't value myself. I was just behaving in a way that demonstrated I didn't value myself anymore, and I didn't feel worthy. What I know now is that I had done soul damage. And so after that, and for many years to follow, I struggled with relational issues. I had several failed marriages. I struggled with anxiety and depression, low self-esteem, and bouts of anger that I didn't really understand.
Right.
So that went on for, like I said, 20 years.
Wow.
So it's really, it was just me trying to manage it.
Man, we can go so many places in this conversation. I would like to, in some other podcasts, go to some of these places, but I'll just touch on this one so we remember it.
Yeah.
A relationship between a father and a daughter. Mm-hmm. I would love to explore that relationship in a conversation podcast because I think that is such an important conversation to have, especially with the Heart for Excellence. Dads have got to be engaged in their daughters. Yes. Yeah. Which leads me to this question, and I'm presuming, and again, I can back off and I can be totally wrong. What are you trying to mask at 17 and then the years after in these relationships? Because my understanding, and I can be wrong, is we're trying to meet a need that through other things than the right thing or the pure thing, thinking that these other alternatives are the right thing, and they lead us to more brokenness and damage. But just briefly, would you identify with that, or can you say I was trying to mask or trying to make up for something by having these relationships?
Well, I don't remember ever being aware of trying to mask anything. I would say simply I was trying to survive, and I wanted to be loved. But the problem was is I did not know how to receive love.
So, again, I'm making a lot of presumptions here. Forgive me. Is it because of a relationship with your dad that you didn't have? Like, did your dad affirm you? Like, I told my daughters, man, you are so beautiful. Mm-hmm. I love you so. Like, hardly a day goes by. Well, now that they're out of the house, not as much, but where I would say, I love you. You're beautiful. Yeah. And I even said to my oldest daughter, she'd probably cringe with me saying this, but I said, man, if I wasn't your dad and I was your age and I wasn't related to you, I would so be crushing on you because you were so amazing. Yeah. Did you have that love that you're talking about, that you were looking, there are country songs written about this, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Looking for love in all the wrong places. Was that what you would say, looking for that love or an affirmation through a relationship?
My dad is my greatest fan. He loves me. He has told me that I'm the most beautiful woman on the planet. He still tells me that today. I was extremely loved by my dad, but my parents were so caught up in marital issues that neither could pay attention to their children. And then there was a period of absence when my mother and dad split. Dad went to another state and kind of started a new life.
At what age?
Well, they divorced when I was 17.
Okay, so now okay.
Yeah. So
Dad's actually gone at this point. He's in another state.
Yes. And actually, when I told him about a year later, he was back in Texas and he was visiting with me, and that's when I told him, because I knew that he loved me no matter what, and he wouldn't judge me.
Okay, so and I'm going someplace. Just trust me on this one. Do you remember the day your dad left?
No, I do not. I don't.
He just disappeared. No,
he did not. He didn't just disappear. He tried to make it work with my mother.
You know what I mean? Like when he was out of your life, when he was gone out of your region, your proximity. Mm-hmm. Do you remember like when he said, Bonnie, I love you, but I'm moving to whatever state he went to?
I don't remember that.
But he was just gone, in a sense, that way, physically.
Well, all I can say is that when your parents don't really notice you're there, then, you just live life and you kind of just come and go. And so I knew that they were having problems. I knew that they were going through divorce. But I just tried to live my life around it. Yeah. Wow. So I had school. I had work. I worked 2 jobs. So I really didn't have a lot of time to even worry about it. They fought every day of my life. I didn't know anything else. And so I have 2 brothers, and we all just kind of did our own thing. We were decent kids, but we just did our own thing.
And then when you were dating this young man, I forget his name.
His name was Mike, and his parents were like my parents. They loved me, and I was kind of like part of their family.
Yeah. So let's just stop right here. Yeah. And we'll pick up the story on next
episode. Is time gone already?
Yeah. Time flies when you get in deep. So thank you, Bonnie. Sure. And we'll talk to you guys in a little bit.
Thanks, Mark.